distinguished guests, Mesdames et Messieurs, distingués invités, my name is Stuart Wheeler, Chief of Protocol of Ontario. May I please invite you to take your seats. The ceremony will begin in approximately 5 minutes. Bonjour, mon nom est Stuart Wheeler, chef de protocole de l'Ontario. Puis-je vous inviter à prendre place? La cérémonie débutera dans 5 minutes. Merci. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, mesdames et messieurs, distingués invités, veuillez porter votre attention sur le couloir ouest pour l'arrivée des ministres désignés du Conseil exécutif de l'Ontario. Please turn your attention to the west hallway, where the ministers designate of the Executive Council of Ontario are now entering to take their places for the swearing-in ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you are able for the arrival of Her Honour, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, the Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell. Her Honour is accompanied by the Premier-designate, Mr. Doug Ford and Mrs. Carla Ford, and the Secretary of the Cabinet, Mr. Steve Orsini. And please remain standing for the playing of the Vice-Regal Salute. Mesdames et Messieurs, veuillez vous lever si vous le pouvez pour l'arrivée du cortège officiel et veuillez, s'il vous plaît, demeurer debout pour le salut vice-royal.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I am Steve Orsini, Secretary of the Cabinet, Clerk of the Executive Council, and Head of the Ontario Public Service. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the swearing-in ceremony of the new Executive Council of Ontario. Today, Doug Ford will begin his term as Premier of Ontario. Together, we'll witness the Premier-designate and his colleagues take their oaths of members of the Executive Council and their oaths of office. First, it is my great pleasure to invite the Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant Governor, to give her remarks.
Good morning. It's my duty and distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to this important occasion in the life and history of this province. Mr. Ford, incoming cabinet ministers, Chief Laforme, distinguished guests, newly elected and re-elected members of the Legislative Assembly, public servants, friends, mes chers amis. Nous vivons un moment remarquable dans l'histoire de l'Ontario. And it's appropriate and important that we pause to acknowledge this territory as a traditional gathering place for many Indigenous peoples, including the Mississaugas of the Credit. I pay respect to the historic and enduring relationship between the Crown and First Nations, Inuit and Métis people. We come together to witness a ceremony that in many respects remains unchanged from its origins well before Confederation. It is rooted in the principles of democracy, which we value most, citizen participation, and the election by the people of their representatives. Nous tiennons à cœur ces principes, la participation des citoyens et l'élection par le peuple de ses représentants. Earlier today, I accepted the resignation of the Honourable Kathleen Wynne as the 25th Premier of Ontario. I wish to express to her publicly my thanks on behalf of all Ontarians for her more than 5 years of service as Premier. We wish her and all members of the outgoing government well. Three weeks ago, I congratulated Mr. Ford on his party's success in the general election and invited him to form a new government. He accepted to do so, and this morning Mr. Ford has, as Premier-designate, advised me of his intentions for the composition of the Executive Council, which in a few minutes I will formally approve. As the Queen's representative in Ontario, I'm reminded that it is they, the executive councillors and ministers of the Crown, who advise me on the exercise of my constitutional powers and legal duties. They are, in turn, responsible and accountable to the Legislative Assembly and, through its members, to the people for their advice. These abiding and honourable principles, known in Canada as responsible government, are the bedrock of our Constitution and are essential to our understanding of how we govern ourselves in this province. In taking their oaths today, the new Premier and ministers will promise to uphold these principles and to be faithful and bear allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen, who embodies our constitutional framework. Among other things, they will promise to be vigilant, diligent, and circumspect in their duties as executive councillors, and to deliberate honestly, without partiality, fear, or favour. They will promise to fulfill their functions as ministers to the best of their skill and knowledge, mindful of the public trust reposed in them as high office holders. And once the oaths have been taken, I will entrust to the responsible minister the Great Seal of Ontario, the symbol of the Executive Council's authority to govern. Its likeness is carved into the sandstone above the entrance of this majestic building, and it serves to remind all who pass under it the dignity of our institutions. Mr. Ford, incoming ministers, serving the public is a noble endeavour. There will undoubtedly be moments of joy and satisfaction, yet also times of challenge. And in those times, may you be sustained by the optimism that is inherent in your oaths and in the traditions of our parliamentary democracy, as well as by the support and encouragement of family and friends who proudly join you here today. I now invite the Secretary of the Cabinet, Secretary of the Executive Council, proceed with the swearing in of Mr. Doug Ford as the 26th Premier of Ontario and of members of the Executive Council.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before we move to the administration of the oaths, we will have the presentation of the Premier's recommendation document. Earlier today, Lieutenant Governor had the opportunity to meet with the Premier-designate to receive formal advice on the appointment of the members of the Executive Council and ministers responsible for various portfolios. Her Honor has indicated her intent to sign the recommendation document. This document formally signifies her acceptance of the recommendations put forward by the Premier-designate for membership and portfolios of the Executive Council of the Province of Ontario. I will now present the recommendation document to Her Honor for her signature. Thank you, Your Honor. We will now proceed with the rest of the formal elements of the ceremony. As Her Honor mentioned earlier, I will first administer the oath of allegiance and member of the Executive Council to the ministers as a group. Then the Premier and each minister will come forward to take their oaths of office. Following the administration of the oaths, Her Honor will entrust the Great Seal to the Minister of Government and Consumer Affairs. I would now like to ask all members of the Executive Council to please stand for their oath of allegiance and members of the Executive Council. Please have your holy book in your right hand. I will now read out the oath on behalf of all the ministers. I do swear that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law. I swear that, to the best of my ability, I will serve honestly, faithfully, as a member of Her Majesty's Executive Council in the Province of Ontario. I will be vigilant, diligent, and circumspect in the performance of my duties. I will speak my mind in council openly and honestly, without partiality, fear, or favor. I will respect as secret all matters that may be discussed by the Executive Council in arriving at a decision of the Council, and not disclose outside the Council any fact pertaining to such matters. I will not discuss the decisions of the Executive Council outside the Council without the consent of the Executive Council, provided that I may discuss such decisions with members of my ministry staff if I deem it advisable. I will not disclose to any person outside the Executive Council any discussions or decisions relating to the conduct of a member of the Executive Council. Ministers, please signify your acceptance by saying, "So help me God." Thank you, ministers. Please be seated. I will now ask Doug Ford to come forward to take his oath of office as Premier of Ontario. In addition, he'll be taking on the portfolio of Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs.
I, Doug Ford, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Premier and President of the Council and Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Premier Ford. I will now call forward the members of the Executive Council of Ontario in order of precedence to swear their oaths of office. Christine Elliott becomes Minister of Health and Long-Term Care. In addition, Minister Elliott is appointed as Deputy Premier. I ask Minister Elliott to please come forward to take the oath of office.
I, Christine Elliott, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Deputy Premier and as Minister of Health and Long-Term Care of the Province of Ontario. So help me God. Congratulations, Minister Elliott. Victor Fedeli becomes Minister of Finance. I ask Minister Fedeli to please come forward to take his oath of office.
I, Victor Fedeli, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Minister of Finance for the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Fedeli. Jim Wilson becomes Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade. I ask Minister Wilson to please come forward.
I, Jim Wilson, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Wilson. Ernie Hardeman becomes Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. I ask Minister to please come forward.
I, Ernie Hardeman, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Mr. Hardeman. John Yaskabuski becomes Minister of Transportation. I ask Minister Yaskabuski to please come forward.
I, John Yakubuski, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Minister of Transportation of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Yakabuski. Laurie Scott becomes Minister of Labour. I ask Minister to come forward.
I swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Labour of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Scott. Lisa MacLeod becomes Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. In addition, Minister MacLeod will be the Minister responsible for women's issues.
I, Lisa MacLeod, swear that I will dutifully and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Children, Community and Social Services of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister MacLeod. Sylvia Jones becomes Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport. I ask Minister Jones to please come forward to take the oath of office.
I, Sylvia Jones, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations, Minister Jones. Steve Clark becomes Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. I ask Minister Clark to please come forward to take a vote.
I, Steve Clark, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Clark. Todd Smith becomes Minister of Government and Consumer Services. I ask Minister Smith to please come forward to take the oath of office.
I, Todd Smith, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Government and Consumer Services of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Smith. Lisa Thompson becomes Minister of Education. I ask Minister Thompson to please come forward.
I, Lisa Thompson, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as the Minister of Education of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Thompson. Monty McNaughton becomes Minister of Infrastructure. I ask Minister McNaughton to please come forward to take his oath of office.
I, Monty McNaughton, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Infrastructure of the Province of Ontario, so help me God.
Congratulations, Minister McNaughton. Jeff Yurek becomes the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry. I ask Minister Yurek to please come forward to take the oath of office.
I, Jeff Yurek, swear that I will duly and faithfully, to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Yurek. Raymond Sung-Jun Cho becomes Minister of Seniors and Accessibility. I ask Minister Cho to please come forward to take his oath of office.
I, Raymond Sung-Jun Cho, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Seniors and Accessibility of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Cho. Caroline Moroney becomes Attorney General. In addition, Minister responsible for Francophone Affairs. Please come take your oath.
Je, Caroline Mulroney, jure d'utiliser fidèlement et consciencieusement les pouvoirs et la confiance qui me sont dévolus et d'exercer au mieux de mes aptitudes et de mes connaissances les fonctions qui me sont confiées à titre de procureur général de la province de l'Ontario. I, Caroline Mulroney, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Attorney General of the Province of Ontario. So help me God. Ainsi Dieu me soit en aide.
Congratulations, Minister Mulroney. Greg Rickford becomes Minister of Energy, Northern Development and Mines, and becomes Minister of Indigenous Affairs. Mr. Rickford, please come forward.
I, Greg Rickford, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Minister of Energy, Northern Development and Mines, and as Minister of Indigenous Affairs of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations, Minister Rickford. Peter Bethlenfalvy becomes President of the Treasury Board. I ask Minister Bethlenfalvy to please come forward to take his oath of office.
I, Peter Bethlenfalvy, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as President of the Treasury Board of the Province of Ontario. Je, Peter Bethlenfalvy, jure d'utiliser fidèlement et consciencieusement les pouvoirs et les confiances qui me sont dévolus et d'exercer au mieux de mes aptitudes et de mes connaissances les fonctions qui me sont confiées à titre de président du Conseil du Trésor de la Province de l'Ontario. Ainsi Dieu me soit en aide. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Bethlen Lafalvey. Rod Phillips becomes Minister of the Environment, Conservation, and Parks. I ask Minister Phillips to please come forward.
I, Rod Phillips, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skills and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as the Minister of Environment, Conservation, and Parks of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Phillips. Marilee Fullerton becomes Minister of Training, Colleges, and Universities. I ask Minister Fullerton to please come forward to take her oath of office.
I, Marilee Fullerton, swear that I will duly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Training, Colleges, and Universities of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Fullerton. Michael Tabolo becomes Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services. I ask Minister Tabolo to please come forward to take his oath of office.
I, Michael Tabolo, swear that I will duly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services of the Province of Ontario. So help me God.
Congratulations, Minister Tabolo. I would now like to ask Her Honour, the Lieutenant Governor, in her capacity as Keeper of the Great Seal of Ontario, to entrust the seal to the custody of the Honorable Todd Smith, Minister of Government and Consumer Services. Minister Smith, please come forward to accept the Great Seal. I would now ask the ministers to please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the new Executive Council of Ontario.
Please rise as you are able for the playing of O Canada and remain standing for the departure of the official party. Veuillez vous lever si vous le pouvez pour l'hymne national et veuillez demeurer debout pour le départ du cortège officiel.